Booktube, Sara here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my weekly reads for July the 21st of 2018. In my weekly reads videos every week, I talk about all the books that I finished this week, and I let you know what I'm currently reading. So, I say hesitantly, this may be a shorter video, I don't know yet. I got 4 books finished this week, which, you know, usually I can finish some more than that, but it's been a really trying week. Work's been hectic, we've been doing training and things like that, so I mean, I am extremely happy with the 4 books that I finished, and I'm hoping, of course, because the end of the month is coming rather quickly, and I have a large TBR to finish. I'm not complaining about that. I definitely will be able to get all the books done. That is not a problem. But with doing the 2 videos coming up, like the ones I have, the one for August and the one for September, Harlequin was really, really nice enough to give me lots of time to read the books and things like that. So it has added some books to my TBR because I'm doing a Maisey Yates video coming out in August, so I'm very excited about that one. Oh, also, my BJ Daniels video went up on Tuesday, so I will leave a link to that in the description box below if you guys are curious to go check it out. And of course, subscribe to the Read Bliss channel that Harlequin has started. Also, you will notice there's a cat in the tower. He is sleeping. Don't know if he's going to be sleeping for the whole thing or if any of the other videos I do, because of course I bulk film, as you guys know, if he's going to come down for any of the other videos, but right now he's up there sleeping. But before I got into all the books and stuff like that, I just wanted to share something with you guys because I think this is pretty awesome, and it is reading related. Last Sunday, we had the memorial for my grandmother. If you've been watching me for a little while or for a few months, you know my grandmother passed away in late May. It was very sudden. Even at the age of 92, it was sudden. She wasn't ill. She was actually in quite good health, as far as we knew. And it was just, it was just one of those things. It was her time. And we didn't do a funeral or anything like that. That's not what she would have wanted. So we kind of, got things together and prepared and whatever. And we had a memorial service at my aunt's house on Sunday, and we had relatives come from all over the place, neighbors, a woman that I've known since I was a baby, obviously, my aunt's best friend. They've been friends since high school, so I think something like 50 some odd years or something like that. Co-workers of my aunt, who kind of knew my it's sad that that's the time that you get to see all these people. And one of my second cousins had this old photo album that she brought, and it was so hysterical. My cousin and I were going through it and laughing at pictures of my dad and his dad when they were younger and stuff like that. You never think that, I think the older that you get, you appreciate that your parents were once young, but it's still funny to see that I'm looking at these pictures of my father, 20 years younger than I am now, with the handlebar mustache and the long hair, and oh, I just love it. I love it. But anyway, my sister-in-law did up these beautiful bookmarks. She has one of those Cricut cutting machines to do designs. She does t-shirts and she does scrapbooking and all kinds of crafty things in that aspect of it. But anyway, she made up these gorgeous bookmarks. And so they've got a little tassel on them. I got a couple of them, actually. I've got some more up here, different colors. But it's got the butterfly cutout. Now, my grandmother loved butterflies. She loved them. On the back fence at the house, she had wooden ones put up, and they were hand painted and things like that. But my sister-in-law found this, and I just wanted to read it to you guys because I just thought it was lovely. And it says, "Don't weep for me, I'm no longer here. I've got a date with a butterfly to dance in the air. I'll be singing in the sunshine, wild and free, playing tag with the wind while I'm watching over thee." So, sorry. Tearing up just a little bit. But it's got her name and 1926 to 2018, And I just thought, what a lovely, lovely idea. She was an avid reader. When I was over at my aunt's house, her room still hasn't changed. My grandmother and my aunt lived together. and Sandy looked after her, essentially. Both my grandparents. Grandpa passed away a couple years ago, and on her nightstand is her book is still sitting there that she had been reading. So yeah, avid reader. Even she could barely see anymore, and she could still scratch tickets, she could still knit, and I got her the large print books. She loved Harlequin books. Oh my gosh, guys, she loved them. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because it is kind of reading related. I think what I want to do is frame this with a photograph of her and have like one of those picture box things. So yeah, I just thought I wanted to share it because, like I said, it was book related. So anyway, before I get all weepy-eyed, let's jump into the books that I finished this week. So like I said, guys, 4 books. Sorry about that, guys. As soon as I started talking about the first book, my husband decided this would be an optimal time to start texting me. Anyway, he's telling me all about the new Star Wars figures coming out. He's on break at work right now, and he's sitting on Instagram looking at things from the Comic-Con, so whatever. Anyway, on to the books. The first book that I finished this week was Drive You Wild by Jennifer Bernard. This is a contemporary romance novel. It is book number 3, the third and final book. I finished a series in the Love Between the Bases series. This was published in 2016 by Avon. It has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.29 stars, and I gave it 4 stars. I got 5 challenges finished for this one. For my Triple RC for July, the monthly challenge, the second week of July is Nude Recreation Week. And I think this one was, you had to read a book that had something to do with recreation, and baseball is a recreational activity. Or you had to read a book where someone was mostly naked on the cover, and the guy, Trevor, his name, the character's name, he is naked from the waist up, so we're going to count it for both. For my Stacking the Series challenge, this was my 28th out of 45th book. Getting there. For my summer romance book bingo, I took this one as my sports romance, so that's exciting, because of course it has to do with baseball. And my tablet just turned off on me, you silly thing. For the Wonderful World of Romance Quarterly Challenge, I got another sports romance. And for my Fly Around the World challenge, where you have to use the author's names as airport code initials, which I'm finding so much fun, I got Jonesboro AR. Is that Arkansas or Arizona? I'm not. I think no, Arizona is AZ, so it must be Arkansas maybe, or is Arkansas? No, Alaska's AK. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know the states. I've mentioned this before. And the code is JBR, and the author, of course, is Jennifer Bernard. So this is the story of Paige and Trevor. And like I said, it's the third in the series, but you really don't need to have read the first 2 books to really appreciate this one. This one actually may have even been my least favorite of the series, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, 4 stars is a really good rating. So like I said, the story of Paige and Trevor. Trevor, since the first book, has been the bad boy. He is kind of a jerk. He's rude, he's mean, he's a womanizer, he's all these things. And I didn't particularly like him in the first 2 books. But I think a part of me knew, or I might have looked ahead, that he was eventually going to get his own book. And I'm like, how are they going to redeem him, essentially? There is an entire backstory with him that I do not want to give away, because it is a major plot point in the story, but there is a reason he acts the way he acts. Not justifying it, but saying that he's not just a jerk, there's a reason he's being a jerk. And he's not all the time. You know, he does have his nice moments and stuff like that. Paige is actually the daughter of the owner of the team. And, you know, I can't really talk about this book too much because of this thing that, you know, the reason Trevor's kind of backstory really plays into what's going on about the 2 of them having a relationship and stuff like that. If you like baseball romance or sports romance, I definitely recommend this series. It's really, really good. Jennifer Bernard is one romance author that I think doesn't get talked about a lot. This is a really great series by her. Obviously, I've read all 3 of the books and thoroughly enjoyed them. There is a lot of baseball talk in it, so be prepared if you're not a huge baseball fan like I am. But, you know, I mean, it's easy enough to follow even if you're not. You know, it's a lot of fun. There's some great humor in these stories, or in this story, you know, as well as the other ones. And yeah, you know, I really recommend this series. I think I gave the second book a 5-star, because it actually at one point brought me to tears with what was going on in it. But this one was thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyable. All of them are, so definitely check them out. The next book that I finished was What We Find by Robyn Carr. This is another contemporary romance. I think it was the week of contemporary romance this week. This is the first book in the Sullivan's Crossing series. It was narrated on audio by Therese Plummer, published in 2016 by Myra. I'm never sure how to pronounce that. It has an average rating of 3.93 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3.5 stars. For my challenges, I got my What to Read in 2018 task number 2, which is you need to click recommendations and read a book from that list, so that's what I did. For my summer romance book bingo, I got Somebody in the Medical Field. Our main character, Maggie, in this story is a neurosurgeon. Very exciting. For the Wonderful World of Romance Quarterly Challenge, I got Medical. Again, she's a neurosurgeon. And for the Fly Around the World, I just think this town sounds so cute, Arctic Village, Alaska. A-R-C. R-C for Robyn Carr. This one I enjoyed. I didn't absolutely love it, but it was a really enjoyable story. So, like I said, Maggie is a neurosurgeon, and, you know, both the main characters, what I did like about this story is that both the main characters were older. You know, I think Maggie was like 36, and Cal, which is our male lead, he was a few years older than her, so he was just under 40. So these were not characters in their 20s. These were characters that were my age, essentially. And she has had a lot going on. So at the very beginning of the book, you find out that the practice that she had been, like the doctor's office or practice that she had been working with, 2 of the other doctors that she is working with were being sued for malpractice. So she had to essentially shut down her business. She was picking up shifts at the emergency room and stuff like that to make some money until, like, she wasn't being sued in this instance. The other 2 doctors were. She personally was being brought to court because the parents of a boy that died under her care, if you will, are suing her personally for malpractice. I think it's malpractice. And then personally, she was dating a guy. It was kind of a long-distance relationship. They'd get together to have a good time, go for dinner, hook up at a hotel, that kind of thing. He was an emergency room doctor in a town, you know, a little bit of a drive away, so they didn't live in the same area. And she got pregnant, and then she ended up losing the baby, and he was kind of grateful for it because he wanted her to have an abortion. So there's all these things, and she just kind of hit her breaking point and went home. So she lives in Denver and works in a major hospital in Denver. She goes home to the town of Sullivan's Crossing, which is this tiny little town right off of the CDT, the Colorado Trail. One of those, like the Appalachian or the Pacific Coast Trail, one of those trails that weaves its way literally from Mexico to Canada. I did some research on it after I finished reading the book, and it's very, very interesting. But anyway, so her father owns this like general store on a campground. So she ends up going and spending the summer. And then she meets Cal right at the very beginning of the book. And he's very mysterious. He's a camper, and you know, she thinks maybe he's homeless. And her father at the very beginning of the book, I'm not giving anything away, really, he suffers a heart attack. He's okay, but she decides to spend the summer there looking after him, and then of course they're going about this whole court case with her with this boy. It was actually a group of boys who were in a car accident drinking and driving, and she made the quick decision, like a 30-second decision, which boy to take to surgery first. And I don't want to give too much away, but stuff happened, and now the parents of one of the boys are suing her, or taking her to court for malpractice, so because they think she should have made a different decision. And yeah, so there's all this going on. It was a good story. It was very slow. That's one of the reasons that I kind of only gave it 3.5 stars, is that it did tend to be a little slow. You know, just the day-to-day life of what was going on. I mean, it was a lovely story. It was a nice, sweet contemporary romance. It did have its spicy points. One of my favorite things in this story, and this is going to sound odd, but Cal never, like, he goes by Cal, but she is kind of searching him, wondering, you know, at first, because he's just not hanging around the campground. He's staying at the campground, but he's like, you know, he's got nothing. Like, he's this almost 40-year-old man, and as far as she knows, he's got nothing. What are you doing here? Why are you here? How can you possibly afford to take months off of work? and, you know, even just to hike the trail or something like that, because that's kind of his plan. And so she starts researching him, and she's trying to find out his real name, because she doesn't think Cal Jones is his real name. So throughout the whole story, even after she finds out what his name actually is, she still calls him like Calvin. Like she'll be talking to him and go, "Okay, Calvin," or Calbert, or, you know, all these names that Cal could be a short form of. I don't know why, but it made me laugh that they kept this gag kind of running throughout the entire book. It was a lot of fun. So I really, really did enjoy this story. I mean, 3.5 stars is more than an average good rating from me. This is available on the Audible Romance package if you're interested. If you have it and you want to listen to it, give it a shot. The narration on it was great. I really, really liked Therese Plummer's narration. I am a fan of her work, essentially. And yeah, this was a really enjoyable story, and I do recommend it. The next book that I finished is one that I'm not going to talk a lot about because I am actually doing a review for it later this week. You will see it this coming Friday. And that is True Blue Cowboy by Sara Richardson. This is a contemporary romance novel, book number 4 in the Rocky Mountain Riders series. This was published in 2018 by Forever. It's actually not due to come out until July 31st. This was a NetGalley book. So thank you to NetGalley and the publisher for sending this to me to review. It has an average rating on Goodreads of 4.48 stars, and I gave it 4 stars. I got 2 challenges for this one. For the Wonderful World of Romance Quarterly Challenge, I got Multicultural Romance. Now, you're looking at that cover and you're probably thinking, really? But, without giving too much away, because like I said, I'm going to do a full review, and I'll talk more about this when I do my review. The male lead in this story is actually Mexican. He's from Mexico. So, unfortunately, in my opinion, fail to the cover artists for this one, because clearly that's a very good looking man on the cover of that book. But in my opinion, he's not Mexican. And she is Caucasian. So, and for my fly around the world, I got Sarasota, Florida, SRQ. So Sara Richardson. Like I said, not going to talk too much about this one at all because I am going to be doing a review. So please do look for that this coming Friday. And the last book that I finished this week was Smooth Talking Cowboy by Maisey Yates. This is a contemporary romance novel. It is the first book in the Gold Valley series. It was narrated on audio by Susan Elise Freeman. In my opinion, it was not that great on audio, to be completely honest. I was a little disappointed in the narration on this one. It was published in 2018 by HQN. Average rating of 4.02 stars on Goodreads, and I gave it 4 stars. I got 1 challenge completed for this one, the Fly Around the World challenge. I got the town of, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, guys. I'm just going to spell it out for you. It is Mekoryuk, and it's in Alaska. And the airport code is MYU. So the reason I read this one, this was not originally on my TBR, but like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm going to be doing a video in August for Harlequin all about Maisey Yates. And then in September, I'm going to be doing a video all about Cowboy romance, which is always fun. Obviously, I read 2 of them this month, or this week alone. So Harlequin sent me a list of these are the books that we'd like you to talk about. You know, pick and choose. They gave me a long list and I could pick and choose. So for the Maisey Yates videos, I picked books 2 and book 3 in this series. And then on the list for the Cowboy romance is book number 4, because book number 4 isn't due until September. So essentially I'm thinking to myself, I'm reading books 2, 3, and 4, you know, over the next few months. Let's go ahead and read book number 1. It was available on Scribd, so I grabbed it on audio, so super happy that I read it. So this is the story of Olivia and Luke. And it is your atypical contemporary romance, in a way. Olivia is from a very well-to-do family. Her family is like the founding family of this town called Gold Valley. This is actually an offshot series of Maisey Yates's, is it Cooper Ridge or Copper Ridge? I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't check. But it is an offshot of that. But you don't have to have read one to read the other. I'm assuming you meet characters. I haven't read any of those books, but I'm assuming you're meeting characters from those stories in this story, or in these books. But I think she's writing both of them like simultaneously. So like, there's still books in that series that are being published. So you know what I mean? I wasn't lost. Let's put it that way. There is a novella that comes before this book, And in that novella, not to give anything away, I haven't actually read it, but I'm assuming, Olivia actually breaks up with her boyfriend, Bennett. And she was assuming that he was going to propose, and it was over the holidays, and he did not. So she meets up with Luke by chance. Her car breaks down, and he helps her out. And then they get talking at the local bar that night, and, you know, she kind of wants to get Bennett back and things like that. And Luke's like, well, then let's make him jealous and make him seem like we're going out together. Now, Luke and Olivia have known each other for about 20 years, but there is an age difference between the two of them. I think it's 11 years, because she's 25 to his 36. And so they've known each other for 20 years. So they met when she was 5 and he was 16. So, you know, I mean, they were just kind of like, he knew her as this little kid around town kind of idea, right? Well, then, of course, you know, she becomes of age, and he notices her, but she's been with Bennett, so he's not going to try and step in, right? Because him and Bennett work together, and they're very good friends and things like that. So, she's led a rather sheltered life, because she has a twin sister named Vanessa. And this twin sister became quite the wild child, gone into drugs and alcohol and partying, and she's taken off. Like, her parents haven't heard from her in about 6 months. They don't even know if she's alive or dead. And so I guess to compensate or to overcompensate, they've kind of sheltered Grace. Or Olivia. Sorry, I don't know why I have Grace in my head. They've sheltered Olivia. So, you know, that's kind of the way her life has been going. And, you know, now she meets Luke, and he's like this womanizer and, you know, kind of known as the bad boy around town, always up for a good time. You know, complete opposites attract. It's a very, very spicy story. It's a really fun story. I mean, I gave it 4 stars. Highly enjoyable. The one thing, though, and I kind of looked ahead at the books coming out, and the one thing that I really want is I want Vanessa's story. I want to know what happened to Vanessa. You know, I mean, the romance in this between Olivia and Luke was fantastic, but hearing so much about Vanessa and what she's been through and what she's done, and kind of this I don't want to say she was bad because she was into drugs and alcohol. She obviously, you know, it's an issue, it's a disease, you know, but I kind of want to know, is she okay? Did she clean herself up? What's going on? You know, like, I hope it's brought up in the next few books, and luckily I'll be reading them shortly, so I can, you know, find out if Vanessa's even mentioned. She is not one of the lead characters in any of the upcoming books, but I'm hoping maybe eventually down the line she's going to get her own book, or at least we're going to get to find out what happened to her, because inquiring minds want to know. Mainly me. But yeah, so anyway, those are all the books that I finished this week, you guys. So let's get into what I'm currently reading. Sorry if the lighting's a little odd. I'm actually, we're filming this on Friday night, because I have the time, and my weekend is going to be busy. So it is, you know, almost 9 o'clock on Friday night. My current audiobook that I haven't actually started yet, because I literally just finished Smooth Talking Cowboy at work while I was finishing up my last few things before I left work for the day. But I will be reading One More Summer by Liz Flaherty. This is being narrated on audio by Rebecca Gibble. From what I see, this is about a woman who has been caring for her aging father for many, many years, and he passed away. Because she's been looking after him, she has no job, no life, you know, he's kind of been everything. But he left her this house that she decides to turn into a rooming house. And the story goes from there, that, you know, you kind of meet all these people that are renting rooms in this house. It sounds like a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a really fun contemporary, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not at all familiar with this author, so I'm always excited to try a new author. My current ebook that I am currently reading is Sweet Summer's Kiss by Debra Salonen. This is book number 10 in the Love at the Chocolate Shop series. This is about Gretchen and Daniel, and they met actually back on New Year's. And they went to this party together. He kind of took her out as a favor to his brother. And they had a kiss at midnight. And then she overheard him say something. I don't want to give too much of the story away. But she overheard him say something, and she kind of got a little concerned. Not concerned in a bad way, but like worried that she couldn't give him what he was looking for. So she kind of took off. But now he's back in town again, because he was only visiting in town for a short while. And they kind of started talking again. So that's the point that I'm at now. I'm still reading Mallory and the Trouble with Twins, book number 21 in the Babysitters Club series. You know, I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It's fun to revisit these books. And my current print book that sadly I've not got a lot read in. I've been really busy and I've been super tired at night on Thursday night. So last night I came home from work, I had dinner, and then I said to myself at 8 o'clock, because I don't have to pick up my husband I don't have to leave here till 10:30 to pick up my husband. I thought to myself, I'm just going to lay down for 20 minutes. 20 minutes turned into an hour and a half. So obviously I've been tired. But I'm only about that far into it. I'm hoping to get a little bit, sorry, it might be better that way. That's the beginning of the book. I am reading Twice in a Blue Moon by Laura Drake. I am enjoying this. It's about a woman who was a yoga instructor, and she married a very well-known Hollywood bigwig who was 40 years older than her. And then he dies, but she did the prenup, so he left her nothing. She didn't want people to think that she married him for the money, when that's what people are thinking anyway. But his brother, who passed away before he did, ended up actually leaving her a winery. And this is where we are now, is that she's trying to get this winery up and running. So I am enjoying it. It is a good book. I just haven't had a lot of time to... you know, ebooks are easy, audiobooks are easy, print books I find more difficult to read. Not difficult as in it's hard to read, but difficult in finding the time to sit down with a print book. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I am still enjoying it. So yeah, but anyway guys, that is it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them, or what did you read this week and what did you really enjoy. And until my next video guys, take care and happy reading. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.